In this section, I want to create a fixture. For this, I want to create multiple parts and assemble them into one part. And I want to show you, after adding these parts together, how I can move this fixture, how I can move different parts according to each other, and show you a moving object, of course. So let's go and create the parts one by one. The first part I want to create is the adjuster. So I go to Part Design Environment and rename it from here. And you'll remember that whenever I didn't rename and have the default name, I had to rename it whenever I was assembling the parts together. So let's go to YZ plane. First thing I want to do is draw a circle and add a path in this environment. For this, let's zoom in a little bit and start drawing a circle from the center of, from the origin of my coordinates. This is going to be about 15 millimeters in diameter. So I double click on that and type in 15 here and exit my workbench. By exiting my workbench, I want to have this, I want to have padding to this. So 5 millimeters of padding is enough for this, and I click on OK. And I can see that this is created. Let's see the back of this part and select this face. So I want to draw another circle here. Start drawing here, and I want to make sure that the snapping is disabled because this is going to be a smaller. But of course, if the snapping is enabled, I can have this with no problem. I go and make sure that this is 9.9 millimeters in diameter. So you can see that I have created this. Let's exit my workbench and add about 20 millimeters in the other side. So I add a padding of 20 millimeters, and I can see that this is created. Okay. Now let's go to XY plane. I want to create a groove here, so I need to draw a kind of circle in the plane that is perpendicular to the previous plane. So I go to sketch environment. Now I'm here. I want to draw a circle, and I draw it like this. I want it to be a little big so that I can change it later. And I want to have a line that exactly crosses the center of this circle. So snapping is very nice here to have. And I have this. Okay, let's add some constraints. This line should not have any constraint. I don't want to have constraint on this line. I just want to have the diameter of this. That's gonna be about 10 millimeters of diameter. And now I want to move this to right, and according to that I want the circle to move to right, and you can see that these two have a coincidence to each other. So I select this line and make sure that these two are about 2.5 millimeters away from each other. So I type 2.5, and I can see that it went right, but I didn't have a coincidence. Let's have the coincidence. So I select this point and select the circle. Let's say this line and add a coincidence here. And I can see that the circle moves to right. I have an axis here. I want to remove the excess parts like this, and again select the quick trim tool and remove this. I can see that this is created and this is fully defined. So let's get out of sketch environment and select the groove tool. This is a groove tool that I can select from my tool set, but you can of course go to insert and select it from sketch-based features. This is easier to find. So I have this. Let's rotate it a little bit so that I can select different parts, and by selecting this I want to have about 360 degrees. I want it full round. I want to have the selection. This is going to be the sketch that I want, so selection is sketch 3 to select it, and I want to have an axis, so I activate the axis, and the axis is this line, and I can see that I have a groove here, and I can show you how this groove is created. Okay, now this part is completed, so let's save this. So I go and save this, and I want to make sure that I have another folder for this, so I create a folder and I name this folder Fixture, and adjuster is saved here, so I save it. Okay, I can create a new window. I want to close this, of course, and I want to start another part. I want to go to part design and create the adjuster base. Now I create this, and now I want to start drawing a simple profile in XY plane. And of course the planes are not that important because I can rotate the part later, but I just want to be exact here. So I start drawing by using the profile tool. I start from here, go down, go to left, go up, and now I want to have a tangent arc to finish my part. Now I want to add some constraints. First constraint is the radius of this. I want it to be 7.5. So the diameter is 15. Now I want to add about 10 millimeters here. And I can see that this is created for me, and I just want to have this symmetric according to these lines, and this should be based on here. So I add a coincidence here and add a symmetry for this, this, and this. Now add that symmetry. I can see that this is there. And now let's zoom in because I want to have a circle here, and this circle is it does have the same. Yes, let's change this. I can see there is a coincidence. I didn't want the coincidence, so I removed this coincidence first. Now I can add a diameter, and its diameter is going to be 10 millimeter. I can see that I have created this like this, and the coincidence is between the centers. Now, exiting my workbench, I add a padding here. This pad should be 10 millimeters, and I click on OK, and I can see that the part is created like this. Let's rotate it and select this face. I want to have 2 holes in that. So I go to sketch environment and I start drawing a small circle here, and this circle is like this. You can see that this is very big, and it has a coincidence that I didn't want to have it, so I remove this. And make sure that the circle has about 2.5 millimeters of diameter. So I type 2.5 millimeter. Now I want to move it down. I grab it and move it here. You can see that it is hard to move it. Let's add some constraint to this. Select the center, and I can zoom in more. Select the center of the circle, and select this baseline. And I want it to be 5 millimeters. And again, select the center and select this line, and I want it to be about 2.5. And I want to have the same hole in the other side, so I can select the mirror tool. Here is the mirror tool. I select this sketch. It tells me the axis that is gonna be acting as mirror. So this is the axis. I can see the same sketches in the other side. So I exit my workbench and start a pocket. So this pocket is going to be about 5 millimeters, and that's it. So I click on OK. I have a 5 millimeter hole in this part. So I save this as well. Save this as adjuster base and continue in the next section.